Cupcake Cats, Cat here, and I am back after like a month with another cosplay story time. Today I wanted to share a commission horror story that I have. I want my story to be a lesson for anyone who is having a costume commission for the first time. Do not do what I did. I'm not going to be giving the name of the commissioner because I did end up receiving my costume, but I just want to talk about my experience and my complaints because it was kind of a cruddy situation and definitely a frustrating situation. So let's get on into it. So back in November, I went onto cosplay.com, and on cosplay.com, they have the marketplace where people will sell costumes, and they also have an area where you can post up an ad requesting a commissioner. So that is generally how I have done before if I'm looking for a commissioner, and I had a good experience from that before, so that's what I did again. So I posted up my ad, posted the picture of the costume that I wanted commissioned, and was really excited when I received a message from a girl that had commissioned a costume for me before. Obviously, I immediately went with her because she had made me this gorgeous, gorgeous costume. It was well worth the money, and it was honestly like simply gorgeous. I look at that costume and I'm like, I can't feel completely negative towards this commissioner because she did such a gorgeous job on this one costume for me and made honestly one of my cosplay dreams come true. So we talked, I gave her my measurements, she asked when I needed the costume by, and this is my first mistake. I told her I need the costume by August, but before would be amazing. I didn't really give a concrete date that I needed it by, which in hindsight, like for me, if I was a commissioner and someone said I need a costume by August but before would be awesome, I would be aiming to get it to them before August. But that's just me, I'm not everybody. She was like, okay, that's fine. Didn't ask for a specific date, went with that. So I sent her the first half of my payment. This costume was over $300, so I was spending quite a bit on the costume, but it was fine because she had made such a great costume for me before, and also I was going to be paying in payments. I wasn't going to be sending all the money all at once, so it was definitely a lot more doable for me. I felt a lot more secure that way if I was scammed, you know. So anyways, that was in November. A few months go by and she hasn't messaged me. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, well, she's probably just working on the costume. But I'm also thinking, you know, it would have been nice to have like an update, like, hey, I'm still working on your costume, or hey, these are the materials that I chose. But I got none of that. Definitely frustrating, but at the same time I kept telling myself, she did a good job before, you got your costume, it was worth the money, don't worry about it. July comes along, I still have not heard anything from her. So I sent her a message and I'm like, hey, you know, just checking in, I sent another payment to you. Oh, and just so you know, I don't need the costume until actually the end of August because the convention is at the end of August. And I gave her the exact date that the convention took place. And I was like, so you have a little bit of squeeze room if you need it. And she responded, oh, okay, thank you for that. That's great. I look forward to finishing this costume for you. And I'm like, okay. So I'm feeling a little bit better at that point. I'm like, okay. Months go by, I don't hear anything. Finally, it is August 1st. And I still haven't heard anything, nor have I seen any sort of pictures of what I'm supposed to be getting. I sent her a message and she's like, don't worry, I'm almost done with it. I'll send you pictures soon. I'll be sending you an email soon. And I'm like, okay. And then it finally comes to like the week before the con. and I still haven't seen any pictures of this costume. So at that point I started actually kind of taking up for myself and getting a lot more like, where are my pictures? Where is my costume? She had promised me pictures. She was like, I'm going out tomorrow, I need to get this last minute thing for the costume. I'll send you pictures tomorrow. I'm like, okay. The next day comes, no pictures. So I'm like, okay, you know what, maybe she forgot. I give her another day or so, no pictures. So at that point, I sent a really angry message. Like, I was ticked off. She's like, oh, don't worry, I promise, I'm sending the pictures. I'm out with my mom for lunch, and we're in town just kind of shopping around. And she's like, I'm gonna send you the pictures in about an hour. And I'm like, okay. So I'm sitting there like obsessively checking my mail. So my mom and I go to get gas, and we're in the car wash afterwards when I finally get these pictures. And my mom looks at me and she's like, I can see by the look on your face that you're not that happy. And I'm like, comparing this costume to the first costume she made me, I don't know what I was expecting, but I was expecting a lot more than what she had done. And it was fine. I was like, you know what, whatever. I sent her the last of my money. I just wanted my costume at that point. And I'm like, you know what? We're in town. There's a craft store. I can get some stuff to kind of bedazzle this costume and make it look better. She had spent a lot of time because like the poofy skirt wasn't sitting the way she wanted it to. And honestly, from the picture, it still didn't look like it was gonna sit right. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna judge when I finally put the costume on. Thankfully, she did really fast shipping on it. I got the costume like maybe 2 days later. The costume didn't really fit me. It was a little bit too big, but that was my bad because I had lost some weight between the time I gave her my measurements and I received the costume. Obviously, I wasn't gonna be like, oh, just so you know, I lost some weight. Because I didn't want to like bother her. I'm a very non-confrontational person, and I should have honestly been demanding pictures like way before instead of like getting super angry in August. But it is what it is. I learned my lesson. The costume, like once we took it in and once I added a few extra little details to it and once I had like the wig and everything on, it looked pretty good. But at the same time, it's one of those things where it's kind of like comparing it to the other costume she had made me, it was a letdown. Like a big letdown. And I'm not really sure if I would commission from her again because it was a frustrating experience. I gave her pretty much a year to make this costume for me, and I was sitting there a week before the con not knowing if I was even going to get my costume. And I remember like just all these times, like all this like long gap that she had not messaged me anything. I remember having nightmares that like I didn't get my costume. It just wasn't a good situation. If any of you out there are thinking of having a costume commissioned, pick a deadline that's way before you actually need the costume, and don't give a vague deadline like I did. Don't be afraid to demand what you feel like you deserve, because I had seen her responding to someone that she doesn't really like to give progress pictures because people don't understand the process and that they will freak out if it doesn't look the way they think it should right away. I respect that, but at the same time, when I message you in November and you say you're gonna make it and then months go by and I don't hear anything, that's not really comforting. You should at least be messaging me to be like, hey, just so you know, I'm still working on your costume, or message me to let me know like, hey, the costume's taking a little bit longer than I thought it would. Like, even if you can't send progress pictures, send pictures of the material you chose. Just like more communication would have been amazing. So that is my cosplay story time today. I hope that you enjoyed hearing about my frustrating story and my stupid decisions because I'm non-confrontational. Not a fun time. I need to work on that, definitely. So if you liked this video, you can give it a like. And if you would like to be subscribed, you can hit that subscribe button and ring that little bell if you want to be notified every single time I make a video. And as always, I will catch you later. Bye, meow!
하루 온종일 자꾸 네 생각만 잊으려 해도 그게 안 되는 걸 내 맘을 꼭꼭 숨기려 해봐도